You learn something about me here. I am not a tech guy. I'm not very good at whatever's new. I'm trying to figure it out, especially as a business owner. How about you? Well, we're going to talk about it next. And I'll tell you this, we're going to make it really interesting. Why? Because tech can be about people. You're going to find out why. Next, Becky Cross of Fit Technologies on Purpose Under Pressure. Well, the heat is on. Let's get cooking. This is Purpose Under Pressure. It's a podcast about people like you and me. We get up every morning, we swing our feet out of bed, we put our feet on the floor, we go to work on something. Whatever it is, we care about it passionately. And what happens is the pressures always try to knock us down. They always try to knock us off course. Do we take a shortcut? Do we quit altogether? You know, I'm hoping that we don't. I'm hoping that our purpose outweighs the pressure, and that's what this show is all about. If you do like this show, if you're back for more, I thank you first, and then I'll ask a favor if you get a chance to just pop a button somewhere that says a thumbs up. Like us, follow us, subscribe, tell a friend, anything you can do to help us get the word out. There's 100 billion podcasts out there. This is one of them. I think it's a good one, and I hope you do too. And I'd like for as many people to hear or see it as possible. So any help that you can provide as far as that goes, I appreciate more than you'll know. Purpose Under Pressure is brought to you by Sandler by the Ruby Group. It's sales training for sales professionals and sales organizations nationwide. They take care of people from almost all the way up and down the coast. They start in Akron and Columbus, Ohio. They have Jacksonville, Florida. They're now also in Capital Region, New York. They provide sales training, business growth, revenue generation, strategies, skills, the things your sellers need to do it on purpose. It's not gimmicks. It's not tricks. It's the things that we wish salespeople would do for us when they're talking with us. It's the questions that they ask. It's the intent that they give. It's the intention that they give. It's the way to do things right. Sales wouldn't have such a bad name connotation if more people did it the Sandler way. So go ahead and check them out. It's Sandler by the Ruby Group. You can find them online at rubygroup.sandler.com. My guest today is Becky Cross. She's Vice President of Client Partnerships at Fit Technologies. They're a managed IT services provider. They're located in downtown Cleveland, and they serve businesses nationwide. I've been in marketing for a long time, and I know that managed IT services can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. We're going to make it interesting, too. And so let's talk about growing a managed IT services business. And welcome, Becky Cross.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here because I think it's something that people need to understand. IT is enough of a pressure on its own. And how do I grow my business around my IT without an IT director? How can I afford IT? I mean, it is a hurdle. And I think a lot of small business owners that are listening right now probably, and maybe you'll vouch for this, don't have a lot of ability or even understanding of what it's all about. And so can you tell me a little bit more about Fit Technologies and what you're trying to do and how you help people and kind of what's good in your world?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I got to say, it's great to be on this side of the mic. Usually I'm in your seat interviewing. So
yeah, you got a show too. I love, what's it called? What the
tech?
What the tech?
Yeah.
The tech.
Thanks for the plug. Yeah. Great.
I love that name. I think that's the coolest thing. I wish I'd thought of that. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So what's going on in our world? Yeah, you mentioned
everything
perfectly. Managed IT services. I like to tell people we are hired from small to mid-sized businesses to come and be their IT department. And exactly like you said, it's a big hat to wear these days. I think what it meant 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, the evolution is profound. And now we have so many new technologies that further complicate the landscape. And so having our company really just focus in on that takes a lot of pressure off of business owners. But, you know, thinking about what's good, man, I mean, there's so many great things going on at our company. I think I'll focus on maybe just two areas. The first is our company culture. You know, a lot of people say, oh, we have the best people. Our people are the greatest. And I think that's good. And certainly we survey our staff with employee engagement surveys and have phenomenal participation and responses. But we're also getting externally validated in our culture. Actually, this week, a group of us are going to the North Coast 99 Awards to receive our 11th year in a row. So like for us, focusing on having an excellent people first culture translates to our clients and customers as well. So that commitment that we have for our people is internally and externally validated, which is so important.
I love that. And congratulations for that. That's tremendous.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah. And I think just the other thing I have to mention is just on the revenue side. We're continuously seeing a sustained growth somewhere in the 15 to 20% range, which is a really strong indicator that we're resonating and maybe differentiating ourselves well enough to do this, to high levels. And so, again, external validation if we're having that growth consistently over time. And I'm really happy that we have such a solid value proposition that we can offer our clients.
And it's because, and let's talk about this, because I think the pressure is almost more on your customer's side, maybe even sometimes than yours, because a business owner, like, is IT a pressure in itself, or is it an opportunity? I think some business owners look at IT and just wish they didn't have to touch it at all. They almost wish something wasn't. I'm in marketing. I've had customers say, I wish Facebook would never have been invented. That way I don't have to worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, they wish they didn't have it. And yet it opens up so many doors when they can do it right and do it well, but it closes them if they don't. How do business owners, how do you help them? Do you help them do more, or do you just help them not hate it so much?
Yeah, I think both. We have, I would
They go
say,
together, don't they?
representation of clients in both spaces. Sometimes
Yeah.
they're feeling the pressure because they don't understand it. So we can come in and translate, be the eyes and ears in that landscape and bring it to them in a way that helps them understand and tie it back to their business outcomes. So for the people that are like, get this off my plate and do it all, that's one form of pressure. There's also, and especially in certain industries, this pressure to outperform competitors using tech. And so then it's almost, I would say bleeding edge. The expectations are know the most, know before Microsoft even knows, anticipate it and tell us so we can go and rapid fire deploy new technology. So it really is both. And I think anybody in the managed services space would echo that sentiment. So I think, that's where opportunity lies for us, though. And I really think there's so much value coming from our teams to our clients in both those spaces.
And I think both of those are good solutions. So I think of a business owner that's just frustrated to heck. He just can't get anything done and he's losing money. And you can come in and say, look, I can handle this for you. We'll keep it basic. We keep it like this, and we're just going to take care of what you have to do. Or there's that person on the bleeding edge, I love that term, that wants to do it all. Which do you prefer? Both are great solutions. Which do you feel you're best suited to help with? Even though I'm sure you do both, but which do you like the best?
Yeah, personally, because I really, again, there's space with us in both.
They're all good.
But
they're important. Yeah.
I got to say, personally, I much more prefer harnessing excitement and energy around technology changes, because to me, that's an indicator that they're not just looking at IT as a commodity, right? They're seeing it as a way to transform their business. And that gets me excited. That's what hops me out of bed in the morning. But again, I also totally understand the hesitation with deploying technologies. And in some ways that hesitation is actually a really good indicator marker, right? So yeah, I like the people that want it yesterday, because I love operating at that speed, and that helps me know their mindset is in the right place.
That's a great answer. And I didn't mean to say one or the other. I
Sure.
think it's really important that we understand that business owners are coming from two different things. I'm 58 years old. I just want to hold on to what I got.
Yeah.
Like sometimes just make sure what I have works, and yet there's some folks that, like, I can't wait for the next thing. I want to do the next thing, and what can AI do for me, and how can I?
Right.
And I think there's room for both. I'm interested in your business model. You've done well, and you've overcome some challenges and some hurdles. And we're talking about pressure. How does a business like yours, and there's so many different people and ways to do IT, how have you grown through and over these pressures? And what has been a pressure for you along this really successful journey you've had so far?
Yeah, man. I mean, you called it out at the start. Pressure comes from a lot of directions. I want to kind of peel back and start with the why, because one of my favorite things when we onboard new staff in our company, and we're just talking and helping them get to know our business a little bit. We ask them, what do you think our mission is? And intrinsically, people think, oh, you're a managed IT services company, so your mission is to do managed IT services really well. Or sometimes their answer is focused around customer service, which also is great. And those things are ingrained in our culture. But for us, good service is the baseline. Like how quickly we respond to our customers and fix issues, that's really becoming the baseline. Our mission, our purpose, our why we exist is actually to form authentic partnerships. And that surprises so many people. But when you create those authentic partnerships, you become an extension of their team, right? And that's important. I want to set the stage with that around the pressures that we've overcome, because I think that authentic partnership has given us the agility we've needed to overcome quite a few hurdles. So for us, I would say the way we do this, authentic partnerships, is becoming more than the people they call when their computer isn't working, right? We show up. We're in the same community organizations and volunteer opportunities. We go alongside each other on sponsorships, or some of our clients were sponsoring their fundraisers because it's critical to their mission. Something we do often is for ourselves internally is we spotlight our clients so that the folks in our company that don't get to interact every single day with our clients can still get a taste of their mission and their value. And it really helps us all feel really connected to the work we're doing and the why, right? But I think for us, a big hurdle was the global pandemic, COVID. And a lot of people, I think echo this experience regardless of industry. But for us, when the pandemic created this physical disconnect, that connectedness was broken, and everyone had to adapt, right? We went virtual. We started taking calls, and all of our meetings with our clients or doing business just essentially all virtual. Everybody was in their own homes. We weren't showing up to those community events or sponsorship. All that was canceled. And I think in the business world, some of that never really caught up. People were like, hey, we can stay virtual. We can be successful. And for us, missing those human experiences and that connectedness started to create challenges, right? But then just to kind of pivot slightly, there was this...
Because of your mission a little bit, right?
Right.
Yeah, because of what you were really trying to do.
Right. So at first, everyone's like, yay, Fit did a great job helping us be prepared for this because we can send our people home and we can keep doing our jobs. And that was a win. We're like living on cloud nine. And yeah, this is great for us too, because we can keep our relationships going virtually. But then this other thing happened. And this is like kind of part of the pressure, right? This other thing was one of our relationships here in Northeast Ohio. It's a mental health services company, got acquired. And the people that were acquiring them had a very quick acquisition and build out strategy in the nation. And we were able, because of the impression we had on this client with our partnership approach, we were able to connect with this company based out of Seattle at the time. And we flew out there, we met with their team, and they decided during COVID, this is the partner for us to keep with this M&A strategy, this merger and acquisition strategy and this build out plan. You guys know enough about this business. We want to model it very similarly, ready, set, go. And, in some condensed version of that timeline, we grew or had to grow almost
overnight. You had
overnight.
to.
Yeah.
Wow.
So keep that backdrop.
What was that like?
Right. Yeah. So all of a sudden we're hiring staff rapidly. We doubled in staff size in like less than 6 months. And
during a time where it was almost impossible to hire.
Yeah. You're onboarding people over a screen. You're rapid firing, which obviously back to that connection and the people and the authenticity. When you don't have that virtually, now you're entrusting folks in 31 states across our nation with our mission. They start losing parts of that. They lose on the process. They lose on a lot of that connectedness that we invest in almost, right? And we just started growing and just doing everything we could to keep up. And unfortunately, during that time, we started feeling a little bit of the after effects of COVID with our existing clients and not nurturing them in the degree that they were used to, having been our clients for many of which 10 plus years. And so some process was breaking down. onboarding this growth was very difficult, and we had some relationships, on the line. So that pressure started mounting, and we had to stabilize, very, very quickly because, back then we did not have a business development or sales team. So our growth was 100% tied to the referrals of our happy existing clients.
Yes.
And
so
now,
let's keep them happy and existing.
right. And now we have this rapidly growing, quickly became our largest revenue representation in our budget client. So here's the fun part, the good news, right? The pressure. I'm sure you could feel it, right? I actually
I
still
can feel
feel
it
it
right
talking
now.
about it. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, I can feel it right now.
Yeah,
It's like cutting
yeah.
an edge. Yeah.
So here's the good part. When you take a second and step out of the business and look on your business, you can see a little bit clearer. And our very, very smart executive team came together and said, we need to get a strategy that helps us diversify our revenue. And we need to adjust and correct on these process breakdowns and some of the people struggles we were having that were ultimately impacting our clients. So we got really clear. We're actually an EOS company, Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Mhm.
So we follow a formula with our executive team every quarter where we set intentional rocks, is what they're called, basically goals for the quarter. And we were able to get some clarity and focus on that. And I don't want to give away too much of the story, but we did end up ultimately hiring our first business development manager to help us with that growth.
And I'm very familiar with EOS, and I want to ask this question because this is what this show is all about. Purpose under pressure. Your purpose was to develop relationships. You developed the relationships. All of a sudden, the pressure showed up with this big opportunity, and you ramped up. That's the pressure. Do you feel like, I think this is the way to ask the question, do you feel like that pressure hurt you short term because your mission was to develop relationships? It actually cost you a little bit. You had to go back and fix some things and redevelop some strategies. Are you glad you took on the pressure? Of course we are now because you solved it. But at the time, it was probably extremely risky. I want to know what it felt like to be in that spot where you went, oh boy, what have we done? Because I have a feeling it felt like that.
Looking at the typical salesperson, everything they do day in and day out, if we simplify all of that and really boil it down, they have two superpowers. First superpower that salespeople have is how they behave. Second superpower they have is what they say. As a seller, we only have two problems. We either said something or did something that we should not have said or done, or we didn't say something or do something that we should have said or done.
But at the time, it was probably extremely risky. I want to know what it felt like to be in that spot where you went, oh boy, what have we done? Because I have a feeling it felt like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to come off like political, but in EOS, there's winning and there's learning. And so for us, I think it was both. It started as a win. This is fantastic. We're growing. Look at our revenue. This is everything every company dreams of. One big whale, right?
One show, goodbye.
But then we started learning. And honestly, today we are still learning from all of that. And so I don't know how many MSPs out there could, put that feather in their hat about having deep understanding of merger and acquisition work alongside companies, right? And so we learned and built some incredible processes. We have learned how to rapidly onboard staff. We've helped cut down some of our onboarding time, and our HR team's been so diligent about that. And selfishly, as the person who oversees the business development team, I'm thrilled that we now have a focus on business development, more outbound versus waiting for your dinner to come to you. We're going to find our dinner. And so I think for us, it ultimately was a win. And all those learns are wins too.
And I think for your customers too, I'm going to ask the question. I think I know the answer. Do you think all these things that you've learned, these things that aren't really IT, but they sure are about helping businesses succeed and partnerships. And have you learned things that are helping your customers as well? Have you become that kind of a company because of those pressures?
Yeah, it's not all of who we are, but having that skill set, to help guide clients through the technology components relative to a merger, an acquisition, a tuck-in, a
Yes.
build-out, 100% that empowers us. And we have since taken on relationships with clients or worked with existing clients who had their first ever acquisition, feeling a little nervous about it themselves. And we're able to come and bring that comfort around, this is how we approach it. We have a thoughtful playbook. We have this designed, and we could guide them through that acquisition process, at least from the technology standpoint. I know there's a lot of other financial and legal things that happen. For us, the perspective was, how do you integrate people into your company from a technology perspective in a very condensed timeline? Ready, set, go.
Yeah. Ready, set, go. What are the biggest challenges that a business has that they're dealing with in the future? They know what they're dealing with now, or maybe they don't even know yet. But what are those challenges that you're going to be able to help them with? And I'm going to ask you the same question about your own company, but I'm interested in your customers. What are they dealing with next?
Yeah.
That you are going to be able to help them with?
Yeah. I mean, the reality is their challenges could also be our own. You know what I mean? So the two areas that really stand out to me are, number one, cybersecurity threats. And number two, AI. And actually, AI and cybersecurity can be a challenge, but also can present significant opportunity. So what I mean by that is, with cybersecurity as an example, there are bad actors using AI intelligence to posture and position themselves to more effectively get what they want, which some would argue at the bottom line is money. Always money.
Always.
Sometimes
My
it
dad
starts
taught me
with
that. He said, if you're trying to figure something out, follow the money. And
Follow
he
the
was
money.
always right. Follow the money. There's an answer there.
Yeah.
Where the cash register rings. That's the answer.
I have a great example. I was just meeting with one of our client partners last week, talking about AI with her, the leader, and her board of directors. And the thing about AI specifically, there's, again, back to what you asked me at the beginning, there's really two sides. There's, ooh, I don't know, it's scary, there's so much unknown, or I want it yesterday, right? So our chief strategy officer, Fred, has a great metaphor. He says, you want to be the steering wheel, not the brake pedal when it comes to IT decisions. Guide yourself through it. So what excites me about the opportunities with AI is the efficiencies and the opportunity it gives organizations, big or small, to reinvent themselves. That gets me excited. And I said to her and her board, at the conclusion of the meeting, what does your organization as a 2.0 version of yourself look like? And I think the way that a lot of organizations are going to get there is AI, but you have to get there thoughtfully, intelligently, not hurry up and brake pedal, or worse, use the accelerator, right? Guide through it thoughtfully and from a design, with a really great design. But cybersecurity is a risk that will be here forever, and it keeps iterating and reinventing itself to get quicker through to the keys to the castle. And so I think any business that isn't paying attention to those two things needs to put that on the horizon, because it's the pace of change that we're seeing is pretty exponential, faster than the internet boom.
I'm going to have to do a show soon. I don't even know who to talk to, and maybe it's you guys, about AI. My biggest concern with AI from a business point of view is that we're all playing catch up, and I wonder who knows anything. Like, none of us invented this stuff. For most of us, it just showed up. We think we know how to use it. We're only touching the surface, and I don't know how many people that know what the potential is, like what the end game is. And it feels like any business owner, and those of you who are listening out there, you got to know where you're going if you're going to get there. I feel like AI is just a huge, big, wide road that doesn't have any lanes at all, and we can sure go wrong, or we can go nowhere. And I don't even know how to ask that question. I don't even know if there's a question.
No,
there.
I hear
it's so big, I can't even fathom it.
I feel the question, and I think, you are correct. Currently, in the state of Ohio, in many states, and definitely not federally, there are no regulations on AI. None. There are no federal regulations, and most states have no policies. So it is a bit of the Wild West.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
However, the opportunity it can create with thoughtful plan and approach.
Yeah.
If you are getting focused, right? There's a lot of noise. Get really, really focused and pick one element. For us, a lot of our customers are Microsoft 365 shops. They're using Outlook, they're using Teams and OneDrive and SharePoint. So for us, the really good focal point to guide them to stay from getting all those distractions is to focus on Microsoft's AI tool, Copilot, and then build a thoughtful design and plan. Make sure your infrastructure is ready and prepared for the integration of this large language learning, and then start piloting it with a group of people to make sure they get the handle on it and then can champion it for a broader rollout. So thoughtful designs and approaches is a lot of what we do in our partnerships. And yeah, it's not if, but when it's don't get run over. Don't get run over by the train.
Like I said, it just all of a sudden for a business owner, it showed up.
Yeah.
In many ways. It either showed up in Microsoft, it showed up as ChatGPT,
Yeah.
It just showed up, or someone has finally gotten to you at a picnic somewhere on the weekend and says, "Hey, have you tried this AI thing?" I mean, that's still a thing. Not everybody even knows what it potentially can do. Anyway,
Yeah.
purpose under pressure. I strongly urge businesses not to steer away from your purpose, not to steer away from what you thought you needed to do and how you thought you needed to do it. I mean, if you felt like you needed to shake your customers' hands every day, you still got to figure out how to do those things. But how can AI take us in our direction better? And so I strongly urge people to reach out to people like you or anyone that might have some kind of an understanding of what the potential is, so that as a business owner, I can use it to my betterment instead of to my detriment.
And you're actually hitting it perfectly, right? AI has actually been around a lot longer than people realize. But the best focal point for how to use AI in your organization is around automating the mundane. I was at a conference in June, and Neil deGrasse Tyson was one of the keynotes. And of course, someone said, is AI going to take all of our jobs and the whole world's going to be taken over by AI robots? And there's a couple of things that are really important that Neil said. First, AI doesn't have the ability to think. It's not thinking when we prompt it.
Right.
It's looking at patterns in the data that we all put into it, by the way. So we're making it smarter, even though it can't think. And the second thing he said that really just resonated with me was AI will never be able to dream. And if AI can't dream, then we need people to dream. And so when we all get back to our core of why we exist, if we can focus more on why we exist and be using AI as rocket fuel to automate some of the things that don't really exactly lead to our core offering, there's huge opportunity. And that's really where we can see businesses elevate.
So I know at Fit Technologies, you're helping businesses with IT. And the reason I kind of went down this rabbit hole with you, and thank you for going with me, is I know that that's a big concern on a lot of business owners' minds. And they just need to talk with someone that has an idea. And I know that that's you and perhaps others, but I hope that they'll do that. I'm also interested in one thing as we get near the end. Another thing I'm fascinated with by your company is the ESOP idea.
Yeah.
You've grown in such a controlled and on purpose way. You are employee owned. Yeah. And I'm wondering if that is a challenge, a pressure at all. I know it's a benefit, but I'm interested in the challenges or the opportunities that ESOP and employee owns allow you.
Yeah. I mean, again, I started with bragging about our culture, and what's really important, we're about to celebrate our 26th year in business, and our co-founders, 2 women, decided as a part of their exit strategy, rather than selling us off to some publicly traded machine, they wanted to ensure that it was in the care of people who would preserve the culture, and who better to trust than the people in your culture. So about 5 years ago, they finalized the paperwork to make us a 100% employee-owned company, going from being formerly a woman-owned company to now employee-owned. And I think that pressure is a good, healthy pressure, right? Because when everyone knows that they have literal stake in the game, it makes them think a little differently and maybe think a little bit more broadly about choices and the way that we're delivering for our client. And that's exactly what you would hope for in an employee-owned model, right? So I think it's a tremendous benefit. the foresight of our co-founders who are still involved, are just phenomenal. So I think everybody's so appreciative to have that benefit in our company, and also to have that lens in which we can look at the business, having a little bit more ownership of it.
Yeah, and that ownership directly transfers. I won't say it for you. I'll let you answer this, but I think it makes you a more attractive opportunity for potential new customers. At least it would to me. The idea that I'm working with an owner, no matter who I'm working with, has to make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the prospective clients that come to our business development team often are sharing that, oh, the company I used to work with was great, but then they got bought. And what happened when they got bought, right? It's usually the service degradation. They do it too different than how I was used to. I didn't feel like I was important because I didn't feel like I was big enough for them in this big mega machine of owning everybody. I mean, it's yeah, I've heard that at least 10 times in this year alone. So I do think that there is something to be said, because I think the ESOP shows our investment in ourselves and our focus on our own company and staying, by design how we've been, with appropriate modifications over time to continue to adjust and evolve.
You are Fit Technologies is a Sandler trained sales organization, and of course, Ruby Sandler by the Ruby Group is a sponsor of this show. I'm interested in kind of your sales pitch here, if you don't mind, as we close. I'm interested in what types of businesses and what are they struggling with, and how they would reach out to you to kind of solve some of those issues. Because what salespeople do is solve problems.
Yeah.
That's all we do. We don't kick tires. We just solve problems. And what kind of problems are they dealing with, and how can you help, and where should they go to find you?
Yeah, for us, we really niche in that small to mid-sized business. So if you have anywhere from 20 to 500 employees, and understand that IT is really a value add to your business versus just a line item on your budget, we're going to be a great fit. That's really where we focus. We do represent a lot of industries. And for us, building our industry knowledge across teams has been really, really important. So we can truly understand and become an extension of that company. And the type of challenges that businesses are feeling are usually the unknown. It's most commonly, we don't have a strategy. We don't know what's coming. We can't see out into the future, and it keeps, smacking us in the face. So yeah, I think our differentiator is just really seeing that future and bringing that strategic partnership approach to all IT decisions.
And how would they find you, Becky, if they wanted to reach out?
Yeah, that's great. I think our fittechnologies.com website has some really great resources, information, covers a lot of stuff we talked through today. And there's some info forms there that will go directly to our business development team, who can reach out and answer any questions. And then, of course, our What the Tech podcast is another great resource for folks. Free for anybody to listen. Don't have to be a client of ours just to get some information on some of these hot topics.
I love that. Becky Cross with Fit Technologies. I think, Becky, the thing I'm really excited about for you and your company, and why I know you're going to continue to be successful, is that you want to get bigger so that you can help more people in more ways, but you're not going to give up excellence. You're not going to give up that one-to-one feel. I have a feeling your customers never feel like they're second place. I have a feeling no matter how big they are, they feel just as important as anyone else, or like your biggest customer. And I think that's how business needs to be done always.
Agreed.
And I think that, not everybody has to do it that way, but small business, medium-sized business, I think has to.
Yeah.
And those who are thinking about hiring someone like you or others that's what they need, is someone on their side that's going to do it right.
Yeah.
No, it's not about size. And I really appreciate it about your company.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for saying that.
It's been great to have our guest, Becky Cross, Vice President of Client Partnerships at Fit Technologies. They are located with their headquarters in downtown Cleveland, but they're serving businesses nationally. And I hope that you'll reach out if you have some questions about their business, or more importantly, how they can help yours. Thank you to Becky for being our guest on Purpose Under Pressure, brought to you by Sandler by the Ruby Group. Sellers are under pressure to perform, and Sandler helps you to succeed on purpose. You'll find all past episodes of Purpose Under Pressure at brianmediastrategies.com/podcast and wherever you stream your favorite shows. So we do this every week, and we will see you next time on Purpose.